Howdy, guys, and welcome to night 75 of the Overnight Feeds recaps for Big Brother Season 24, and welcome to Cliff Notes. All right, we had the last full night, well, I say last full night, the last night that the house guests had the backyard, so they certainly enjoyed that some. It was a bit of a tough night watching the overnight feeds. There was a lot of downtime where there wasn't a lot of game being talked. We did have earlier today a conversation between Monty and Brittany that we'd been waiting for while she gave him her pitch. I don't think it'll be the last time we hear it, but she gave him her pitch. Later, we had a long conversation between Monty and Taylor in bed up in the HOH room, just laying there. Nothing more than that with her head on his chest, but a long conversation, a little bit game talk, a little bit just about who they are as people and things like that. And so that's it. So let's do talk. Again, there were some game conversations that are worth discussing. So we'll talk about that as we go forward into the overnight feed recaps. Now, first of all, as a refresher, remember that Brittany and Turner on the block. Monte's going to be casting the sole vote on Thursday to see who goes home. And right now, it's still looking like it's a done deal that Brittany heads out the door. Was her campaign to Monty effective? Yeah, maybe she made some points. I think there's some things that he'll think about. But at the end of the day, I think she is still destined to be heading to sequester, not the jury house. We'll talk about that, but heading to sequester starting on Thursday. So let's talk about what did happen in live feed yesterday. First of all, we'll back up a little bit more from the overnight. We'll go back to yesterday and talk about the conversation that Brittany finally had with Monty, where she was going to line up everything and give him she's the mob boss, so give him an offer that he couldn't refuse. Well, yeah, he may still refuse it, but she did go visit with him, and she did not bring her M&Ms, not quite so formal. I feel like he almost caught her off guard. He approached her and said, look, I know you've been wanting to talk. You know, you want to do it now? And so she said, yeah, I'll be out there in just a second. So I'm not sure she was as prepared. It may not be a bad thing that she didn't overwhelm him with M&Ms and graphs and everything else that she had planned. She may save that for another day or two. But she did start talking to Monty. She's talked about Turner being a bigger risk than her, that Turner likes to make big moves, and if Monty takes Turner to the final three or even to the final two, what makes him think that Turner wouldn't flip on Monty and use that as yet another game move on his resume? That's just who Turner is as a person, and she's not sure why Monty doesn't necessarily recognize that. She's saying, on the other hand, you could take Taylor to a final two, and you're better at comps than Taylor's been. But she's got a great social game and can get lots of votes from the jury because of her social game. So is that what you want to do, Monty? She went over who would vote for who in different final two configurations. Then she went over comp wins head to head with each other, and basically was trying to point out to Monty that he's done better at head to head comp wins, mental and physical, than Brittany has. She ended up saying, I guess it's kind of the statement of the whole thing. She said, look, Turner and I are playing very similar games in terms of how many competitions we've won, things like that. And she said, I'm basically just the overweight version of Turner, the overweight, out of shape version of Turner. So if it comes down to those final competitions where you're competing against someone to make it to final two, do you want to compete against regular Turner, or do you want to compete against the overweight, out of shape Turner, being myself? And so that was her pitch to Monty, is that she and Turner are somewhat similar, and so why wouldn't he? Well, at the end of the day, it's still the same thing. Why wouldn't he? Because the regular old Turner has promised that he'll take Monty to final two. The overweight, out of shape Turner in Brittany has not made a similar promise, and Monty knows that she wouldn't take him to final two. That's still the distinction that she just cannot get around. But she does have that. Now, she talks a little bit as well, trying to diminish some of what she's done in the season. She's talking about the counting fair veto that she won. She says Michael threw that to her. She says, I haven't told Taylor that, but I'm telling you that. He threw that to me, so that doesn't even really count as a win. And so she continues her campaign. All good points. Not that they aren't valid, but it's just not going to convince Monty. And again, it's because he knows that Turner will take him to final two. Brittany won't. So as a result, not going to happen. Now, what it may do, I do think it could get Monty thinking a little bit more about jury votes, who might vote for who. a little bit more thinking about exactly what kind of speech he may give to try to win against either Turner or Taylor. Could it affect who he took to the final two between Turner and Taylor if he got to that point? Yeah, some of the stuff she said very well may get him thinking from a jury vote standpoint what's going on. So Brittany's speech was effective, just maybe not in the way that she thought it was going to be, because I think he's still firmly planning to take Taylor. Monty, in fact, later rehashed everything to Turner, and he sure didn't act like he was sold by Brittany. He's saying, there are a lot of holes in her arguments, a lot of things that she didn't talk about, and yeah, it's just not really, it's not going to work. She tried, but it's not going to work. At that point, then Monty and Turner launch into, mainly Monty, launch into another tirade about Taylor and everything that happened the day before. Monty is still not over this. He's just going on and on about these little picky things that he's upset about with regards to Taylor. We do have Brittany talking to Taylor, saying, "Look, the problem is Monty's convinced that you and Turner will both take him to final two, and I'm not sure what else to do with that argument, with that belief of his." She told Taylor that him not taking Brittany, she mentions to Taylor, says, "Look, him not taking me to final three is the equivalent of him taking away the chance for my family away from me, and therefore he's not ever going to get my vote for final two." So she's saying, yeah, he's taking away my family from me by not giving me a chance to compete to the very end. So he's not getting my vote in final two. Yeah, okay, we'll see. She very talks there. She's very much Team Taylor if it comes down to it in terms of votes and everything else. All right, Brittany's also pointing out the Pound Alliance just as a way to further, I guess, make sure Taylor's aware as well that point out the Pound Alliance and that Monty and Turner obviously have had something going on from the very beginning, and she's just not able to break it. In fact, at one point while she's talking to Monty earlier, she says, "I know Turner's your boy. I know y'all are tight with each other. I can't do anything about that." So she's trying to use logic. And Monty told her, he said, "Look, that's the way I think. I appreciate you presenting this from a logical standpoint because it makes me think a lot more about it." So she approached it the right way. I just don't think it's going to make a difference. All right, eventually we got Monty showered up in the HOH room. I guess he had to take his toiletry bag back up there. Monty showered up in the HOH room and then got into bed with Taylor for a long conversation. They were up there 2, 3, 4 hours, a long time up in the HOH room talking. Taylor was saying, and I'm just going to summarize a lot of this because there was a lot of hanging around out there. Taylor saying that she feels safe with him, that she just wants to be a gentle person with Monty, but she's also not going to change who she is for him or for anyone else, that she is what she is. Monty is saying, well, maybe instead of trying to be a gentle person with me and not gentle with other people, maybe you could just be just a single nice person all the time and not be cold to anyone at all. So he's still kind of pointing out her personality and things that he thinks are a little bit lacking and all that. Taylor has told him from a gameplay standpoint, Taylor's told him that she's taking the tough, she's decided she's going to take the tougher route by taking him to the final two. And Monty's saying, really, you would take me over, Brittany or Taylor or anything else? She says, well, yeah. She says, specifically, I think he says Brittany. He says, you would take me over Brittany if Brittany was still in the house. And she says, yeah, I know it's tougher, but I would do it. And they'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Monty is telling Taylor that he thinks that they could both beat Turner in mental or physical competitions, thinking ahead to the final three when they're competing to see who gets to drag on the final two. So he thinks they could both beat Turner, but he is worried that Brittany could win the mental component of those competitions and could end up winning the third comp, which decides who goes forward to the final two. And he knows that she's going to take Taylor over him if that was to happen. Taylor is saying that she's tried to campaign for Brittany as much as she can, but she doesn't want Monty thinking that she's fighting Taylor's battle. She's just trying to fight her path that seems to work best for her. I think Monty understands that. Later, we'll come back to these conversations because, again, it's a long time. But later, we cut away. We've got Brittany alone on a hammock out in the backyard saying, win or lose, everything is going to be fine. I'm glad she's starting to accept it. Doesn't mean you stop fighting. She's just accepted that there may be some things that she can't change. I know during my season, Final Four, I tried a few Hail Marys to try to save myself, but eventually you just realize that, hey, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. You might as well enjoy your last little bit of time in the house. And I hope she gets that opportunity while she still can. She's saying if she goes at this point, at least she gets the jury house experience. Well, we need to talk about that because no, you don't. As a fellow fourth place finisher, I can confirm that you don't get to go to the jury house. You go straight to sequester, which is not at the jury house. So she'll miss out on that. That's fine for me. I would have rather spent every single possible day in the house that I could, as opposed to being in the jury house. So she's missing that one a little bit, but that'll be all right. All right, we do have Turner getting ready to do tie dyeing out in the backyard. Brittany asks if she can watch, and he says sure. But then when she goes inside for a second, he immediately complains to the camera, saying, "I don't even want to do it if Brittany's here. Why won't she just leave me alone?" He's still not happy with Brittany at all, and unfortunately, with Taylor and Monty upstairs, there's not a lot of people to talk to other than Brittany. He gets her wish though as she goes inside, goes to the Jetsons' bedroom to hang out for a little while instead. And at that point, we get Brittany with a little soliloquy to the cameras. She's saying that Monty's decided that Brittany can probably beat him in mental competitions. If she can't convince him otherwise, then she's probably done in terms of campaigns. She's saying it just does not make sense to take Turner over herself in this coming up eviction on I evict to emote Brittany. Yeah, she's saying it just doesn't make sense to take Turner over her. And as a last juror who has seen more than anyone else that's already in a jury house, if it doesn't make sense to her, she's saying it's not going to make sense to anyone in that house why he sent me out the door and kept Turner. I think the people in the jury house are going to kind of understand why that particular action took place. She doesn't think there's anything else that she can probably tell them. She's worried if she does pull out the graphs and M&Ms and all that, she's going to confirm that she's an even greater mental threat than he thinks. So it's not going to help her cause whatsoever. She's hoping that she gets the chance to play Big Brother again someday, that maybe America likes her enough that she gets another chance. She doesn't think that Monty's played that great of game. She says Michael protected him on way too many occasions. Well, talk about people who Michael protected. You know, there's a few. One of them's talking to the camera right now, but she's saying she didn't think he played that great a game. That she's going to try, if she goes to jury, she's going to try to convince the jury to vote for Taylor because Taylor deserves it more. She's hoping that even if she's not going to win Big Brother, that maybe she could win America's Favorite instead. Yeah, I still think it's unfortunate that no one told Brittany that she had won that very first America's Vote when they were the backstage girls that very first week. Now, if she knew that she'd won that vote, she really would be, I think, even more enthusiastic now about the possibility of America's Favorite. Don't think it's going to happen, but she's hoping maybe that could be the possibility. She at one point getting to the level of desperation a little bit here. She's asking God for some kind of sign on how to change Monty's mind. Wishing that she could use hypnosis to convince him to change her mind. She wishes she could use hypnosis to against his will to make him decide. We're starting to hear a little not superhero, super villain Brittany, the evil hypnotist, as she's thinking what she could do if hypnotism just worked that way. But now she's saying she wishes she could do something at this point to make it work. She's hoping that once she gets out, she'll get a chance to get a podcast or a TV show or do something with hypnotism and talking to people and all that. So she's thinking ahead. All right, more Monty and Taylor discussion because they spent a long time up there. Taylor's thinking that they could both beat Brittany in competitions, and Monty saying, well, I think we could both beat Turner. That's the issue. We think a lot slightly different on that. At one point, now this is important. Of all the things that took place last night, this was probably most important. Monty has given Taylor a pinky swear promise that he will not take Turner to the final two, that he's taking Taylor instead. Is that true? Is Monty going to take Taylor over Turner? And is Brittany's campaign having anything to do with this sudden promise? Is he starting to get a little bit more afraid of Turner, based maybe on what Brittany has said, that he has now made this promise to Taylor that he's taking her to final two? Pinky swear. I mean, yeah, is there anything more solid than that? We'll find out. I think if Monty's making that final decision, someone's going to be incredibly disappointed, because I know Turner's expecting to get taken to final two, and now Taylor's expecting it as well. Would Monty feel so comfortable about his position in the game that he would throw that final competition knowing that both of them would take him over each other? I don't think so. You got to have that for your resume. You want to make the final decision. You don't want to get drugged to the final two. So I just don't see that happening. But we'll find out. We'll find out within the next week. So there you go. So he has given her the pinky swear. He's also saying that he thinks there's a greater chance that he could win a final two over her than Turner. So there's some game reasoning that he's throwing out at her as well. But he's saying, but having said that, I also could easily see myself losing to you. So it's not like it's slam dunk or anything else. Taylor's saying that she can live with a final three of herself and Monty and Turner if it comes down to that. And Monty's again assuring her, saying, look, I said I'm going to take you. I'll take you to the final three. So if you're okay with that final three, then it's done. Taylor's talking about the fact that she would pick him over Brittany, even though going against Brittany would be a sure thing. She said, I know I could beat Brittany in final two, but I would take you ahead of that because I'd rather be sitting next to you than sitting next to someone that betrayed me. And Monty says, look, I feel the same way, but why should we give her third place? Why does she deserve that? Send her home this week and don't give her the reward of being one of the final three and staying in the house to the very end because she betrayed you. So why wouldn't you go ahead and do that? So they're still campaigning back and forth about Brittany versus Turner. Eventually, Turner and Brittany downstairs start a game of cards. I think they start with rummy, and then they start playing spades and all that. Later, Monty joins them. Eventually, Taylor joins them as well. So at least we got the four hanging out together now for the last night with the backyard. They talk about an all-nighter, about hot tubbing, watching the sunrise. Again, this is going to be their last night in the backyard. Big brother let them know that it's shutting down, and that's going to be the end of it. It's tough when you're trapped inside, and you know that's their last opportunity out in the back. They start talking about backyard memories, their first week in the house, things like that, what they want to do when they get out, which podcast they want to go on. Brittany's talking about that she would love to be an influencer when she gets out, get paid to talk to people. They're talking about future Big Brother seasons. They come up with the idea of a coach's season. They said Michael would be great. You bring him back. He could be one of the coaches. Turner saying, yeah, we could have a coach's season. Michael could come back. Tiffany could come back. Kat Dunn could come back. Hey, Kat. And at that point, Taylor kind of laughs about Kat, and Turner says, well, or instead of Kat, Holly Allen could come back as well. Taylor's laughing about that, says, well, all Holly did was date a guy. Well, just as an FYI, Taylor, Holly won twice as many HOH competitions as you won this season. So Holly maybe had a little more effect on my season than you're giving her credit for. So just an FYI, she won a few competitions, a few more than you won, Taylor. All right, Brittany is calling it a night. Finally, about 4:00 in the morning. She tried to hang with him. She tried. So God love her. She did what she could, but she finally calls it a night about 4:00 in the morning. Others head to the hot tub. I guess Big Brother's finally turned the heat and the jets on, so they head to the hot tub. Eventually, about 6:00 in the morning, they hang out. You can see them with their final goodbye, saying goodbye to the backyard. As soon as they walk in, the blast door closes. That's it for this season for the backyard. We aren't going to get any more of it. It's all going to be indoors from this point. Just make it a little bit more boring for us. How about you? They say goodbye to the backyard. It closes for the last time. Now, at this point, I'm getting ready to film this thing. I'm hoping the big question of the night is Monty going to stay upstairs in the HOH bed tonight, or is he heading back down to the car bedroom again? Don't know. As I'm recording this, he was upstairs in the shower. Turner and Taylor were still downstairs in the kitchen. Didn't seem like the two of them are in any huge hurry to go to bed just yet. So went ahead and recorded it. I don't know. I really wanted to know. My guess is that I don't know. Monty may be heading back downstairs, but they didn't do anything except just hug on each other up in that bedroom, but they sure seem to be a little friendlier than they were before. So we'll find out. We'll see what happens, because they'll be sleeping till 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon, I'm sure. We'll see where that sleeping may occur, and if anything else occurs along with the sleeping. So there you have it, guys. Pretty chill night in the backyard. Again, the main things, Brittany throwing out her campaign speech to Monty, which I don't think worked to her behalf, but it does have him thinking, I think, a little bit. The big one that Monty has made a pinky swear to Taylor that he is taking her to final 2, and we'll see what happens from there. Guys, y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. I will be back tomorrow morning to tell you any big explosive things that happen overnight. I hope there's something. Let's get a little exciting for these last few nights. But I'll be back tomorrow, Wednesday morning, to talk about that. Until then, y'all have a fantastic Tuesday. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends.